Me parece que Richie Voss lo dijo hace como 25 años, al declarar que si este negocio ha hecho tanto por nosotros, nosotros tenemos la responsabilidad de seguir transmitiéndolo a otros, y yo creo que es cierto, nunca nos debemos retirar. Cualquiera que tenga éxito no se debe retirar. Deben estar ayudando a otra gente a ayudarse a sí mismos. Cuando Birdie y yo empezamos este negocio en Roma, Nueva York, vivíamos en un callejón. Me faltaba un mes para cumplir 25. Teníamos 4 hijos, nos casamos antes de cumplir los 18. Ganaba $95 al mes antes de impuestos, pero estábamos dispuestos a trabajar duro. Yo crecí trabajando duro porque mi papá y mamá nos enseñaron a trabajar duro. Siempre nos dieron responsabilidades cuando estábamos en la escuela. Me acuerdo cuando tenía como 8 o 9 años que repartía periódicos, repartía el Utica Daily Press y caminando con trabajo en la nieve que me llegaba hasta las rodillas, y mis papás no se preocupaban por mí. Sabían que yo necesitaba ese trabajo. Mi papá era uno de mis héroes, así que crecí como casi todos los niños. Cuando tenía 5 años, creía que mi papá podía vencer a cualquiera. Y cuando tenía 15 años, todavía lo creía, porque mi papá era un gigante, duro y tierno. Mi tío John siempre me animaba a que fuera a la universidad. Mi papá y mi tío John habían abandonado la escuela en el segundo año secundaria. Mi papá era plomero y mi tío John era lavaplatos. Tío John pasó de lavaplatos a albañil, a carpintero, a superintendente, y después abrió su propia compañía de construcción y se convirtió en urbanizador. Después tuvo una docena de negocios diferentes. Y cada vez que se sentaba a convencerme de ir a la universidad, lo único que yo pensaba era, John, yo quiero ser como tú, como mi papá, ¿ok? Así que fueron mentores importantes en mi juventud. Mi sueño toda mi vida fue trabajar de tiempo completo, tener mi propio negocio, no tener que trabajar para nadie más. Estaba harto y obstinado de tener dueño, quería ser independiente. Y Birdie ya había hecho la cita, sabiendo que yo no estaría muy complacido. Me dejó una nota que decía, va a venir Ross a hablar contigo acerca de Amway, por favor escúchalo. Postdata, me fui a donde mi mamá. Y regresó cuando yo le dije, estoy listo, ¿verdad, mi amor?
Sí, cuando llegué con los niños, estaban terminando la presentación y me senté a escuchar, y de repente dijo, ok, estoy listo.
Había 32 productos cuando empezamos, ¿verdad?
34.
34 el 1 de noviembre del 64. Pero eso es lo bueno del negocio. Teníamos una base de productos suficiente, aún con 34, antes de que tuviéramos catálogos y la línea de Navidad. Y en aquellos días, una lata de spray para zapatos se vendía al por menor por $2. Así que se necesitaban muchos productos para llegar a los $7,500. Y empezamos con la actitud de que íbamos a consagrar el negocio un año entero de entrega total, todas las noches, y no preocuparnos de lo que pasara. Revisaríamos el negocio en un año porque sabíamos que no era tan fácil como todos decían. Birdie y yo hagamos camino y fuimos a donde fuera juntos. Hicimos lo que era necesario, criando 7 hijos. Empezamos el negocio con 4 y tuvimos 3 más mientras el negocio empezaba a crecer. Así que comenzamos de lleno con 7 hijos. Y 60 días después de que empezamos, estábamos haciendo $7,500 de venta y nos convertimos en directos. Y 10 semanas después de que comenzamos, empezamos a tiempo completo. Después de que empezamos a tiempo completo, no había tantos líderes, nadie nos estaba guiando. Y los siguientes 10 años, apenas si nos manteníamos a flote, sin muchos sueños. La Biblia dice que el hombre sin visión perecerá. El hombre sin sueños está muerto, y nos dimos cuenta de que primero teníamos que desarrollar nuestro propio sueño. Tuvimos que aprender primero a pasar tiempo creando nuestro sueño. Después de los primeros 3 años en el negocio, empecé a leer libros, escuchar discos o lo que fuera de gente exitosa, y comencé a entender la importancia de un sueño. Éxito es la realización progresiva de un sueño valioso. Lo que quiere decir es que tus sueños tienen que progresar constantemente. El primer paso de nuestro sueño era que Birdie y yo no tuviéramos que trabajar para nadie más. Bueno, alcanzamos ese punto muy temprano. Pero no progresamos con nuestro sueño. Dimos el primer paso y como que nos quedamos ahí.
Sé que uno de los retos más grandes que enfrentamos cuando empezamos en este negocio fue darnos cuenta de que otra gente no tenía los mismos sueños o la misma visión que nosotros, aun cuando yo no sabía que la teníamos. No veían lo mismo que nosotros en este negocio o no veían el futuro como nosotros. Así que era definitivamente un reto para mí que me hacía pensar, ¿por qué vemos esto y ellos no? A lo mejor estamos viendo algo que no existe.
Si no eres dominante en tus sueños, otra gente te dominará y te espantará los sueños, te robará tus sueños. De modo que tuvimos que aprender a aferrarnos a nuestros sueños porque todo el mundo trataba de decirnos cuán tontos éramos, inmaduros éramos y cuánta imaginación teníamos. Tuvimos una pequeña conferencia y nos dijimos, ok, vamos hasta el final con esto. Y 2 años después, nuestro negocio estaba en la cima. Nunca vuelas solo, a menos que hagas un compromiso total. Como todo en la vida, ¿verdad, mi amor?
Yo solía pensar que si todo iba bien, entonces decidiría qué hacer. Tuve que aprender que primero decides y después lo demás viene solo.
Tienes que tener un sueño, anhelarlo y creer en él lo suficiente para poner alma y corazón en realizarlo. Creemos que Dios nos puso aquí para ser productivos. Sin importar en dónde estamos económicamente en la vida, debemos ser productivos. ¿No sentimos que hay algo más que podamos hacer en nuestra vida espiritual para transmitirlo a otra gente o para darles un testimonio de lo que podemos hacer con nuestras acciones en este negocio? Porque construimos relaciones de confianza con la gente y no puedes tener éxito sin ayudar a la gente. La vida misma, el éxito, es ayudar a otra gente a obtener lo que quiere mientras tú obtienes lo que quieres. Casi todos los triunfadores que he conocido han tenido una cierta sensibilidad para transmitir. A mí me encanta la gente. Siempre me ha encantado la gente, pero pienso que mi altruismo siempre ha consistido de ser capaz de ayudar a la gente que quiere ayudarse a sí misma. Estamos en el negocio de ayudar a la gente a desarrollar una buena imagen propia y buena confianza en sí misma, y no creo que puedas hacer algo mucho mejor en los Estados Unidos que esto. Creemos que lo mejor que podemos hacer es ayudar a la gente a pararse en sus propios pies. Así que ese es realmente nuestro ministerio. Y los que tienen otros ministerios que llegan a la gente de otras formas, muchas veces pues acabamos apoyándolos. Pero yo tomo a un fracasado y le hablo de pararse en sus propios pies. A un principiante en el negocio le hablo del sueño de salir adelante. La clave es ayudar a la gente a desarrollar liderazgo, levantar líderes en este negocio que manejen su propio show y que puedan crecer más que nosotros. Yo siempre le digo a la gente que cuando entra en el negocio que cualquiera puede crecer más que yo. Cualquiera puede crecer más que Birdie y yo.
Dexter and Birdie Yager have earned remarkable success in business and in life by helping others to understand, unlock, and realize their true potential, whether it is business, ministry, or government. It is their hard work and dedication to helping others succeed that has earned them a reputation for developing strong communities. The inspirational story of their rise from rags to riches is as impressive as the lifestyle they now enjoy.
But we came here for a special reason tonight, and that is to honor a couple of people who have overcome the fears of rejection, who moved beyond all the doubts and all the worries about what other people said. When people said nothing good can come out of Rome, New York, somebody did come out of Rome, New York. I'm going to ask Dex and Birdie to come up here so we can honor them for their achievements. Hi, young man.
Hey,
Overcomer. All right, thank you.
Birdie and I grew up in a small mill town upstate New York, Rome, New York. It was Milltown and Air Force Base. And growing up, I did a little bit of all kinds of work. I shoveled driveways and sidewalks in the wintertime, mowed lawns, and had a paper route. And had my own little lemonade stand when I was in 6th grade. And I remember I went over with lemonade to an apartment complex, and the guys over there said, this lemonade's fine for a one-time, kid, but we want Coke, get a soda. So changed my plan and took care of their needs. And I learned that at an early point. You gotta handle people with what they want. And next thing you know, I was doing $100 a week worth of business profit. And I was making as much as my dad was as a plumber. My mom always said Yagers don't work for other people. And she learned that from my grandmother, Yager. So I grew up with that attitude that I was going to have my own business someday. Birdie's my 17-year-old girlfriend. I like to tell people I have a 17-year-old girlfriend because she was 17 when I married her, and she's still my girlfriend. I wanted to be the big achiever for Birdie, and I think more than anything else, I wanted to be her hero. I wanted to be the man that supplied the good things in life to her. Part of the problem was I didn't have a big dream. Birdie was working at Griffiths Air Force Base, and I was working for the brewery. And I'd come home, and there'd be a babysitter there, and I'd take the babysitter home, take the kids with me, and then I'd come back and I'd take care of the kids until Birdie got home at midnight. And I'd just stay awake all night long because I got to get her out of this job.
There was stress coming from everywhere, it seemed like. I mean, it was like I had 4 little kids, and working 8 hours a day away from home, and all the stuff that would go on at work and everything else, and all the little frustrations. And I just wasn't cut out to work a job with having 4 kids at home, and I just said no way. So after I quit and realized, we were missing my paycheck, and that's when the business came along, about 5 months after I quit work.
We saw that opportunity and we said, we can do this, because I was out every night. And we paid 16 bonus checks the second month in business.
The twins were in kindergarten when we got in the business, and it afforded us to hit the ground running. And that's exactly what we did. And we became very committed and dedicated and loyal to this business from the very beginning.
Birdie and I made a commitment that we weren't going to look at how much money we made for a year. We were going to do everything we can every night possible for the first 12 months, and then we would judge it. But so many people want to see what happens first few weeks, first few months. I just said, I'm going to give it my try. I'm going to give it all I got. 60 days after we started, we were doing $7,500 worth of business. And 10 weeks after we got started, we went full time. Nobody was giving us guidance. And the next 3 years, we just sort of leveled out. The Bible says a man without vision will perish. And we had to realize, first we had to learn to develop our own dream, to spend time to get our own dream together. I was starting to travel on the road a lot, and I realized that the Cadillac was the American symbol of success, and I needed one. But first, I had to build my business. Every time I had a bad meeting, after the meeting, I'd go down to the Cadillac garage and I'd walk through all those Cadillacs every night with a flashlight. And then I'd go past a home that Birdie dreamed of having. She said she thought that house was gorgeous. And so she'd say that was the nicest home and she wanted a home like that. So I'd go sit in front of that house night after night after night. And I'd sit there maybe 20 minutes, and then I'd go home, and I'd get my dream back.
And the dream, being that what fuels us, is what creates our passion, what keeps it going. And people who do that usually see most of their dreams coming true.
We knew success was a habit, and that you got there one step at a time. You're going to have your dropouts, you're going to have your quitters. You know, there's always somebody that could have done everything, but they never did, and they always have a good excuse. When Birdie and I got started, we had to struggle, and we spent 3 years in that struggle of trying to find ourselves and find what we should be doing. And finally, I found some books that changed my life.
Those books helped me so much because I started with The Magic of Thinking Big, and it literally just impacted me because I found myself on every page that wasn't good.
We put our system together, and we taught many people the system, but we needed somebody to supply us with books and tapes and parts of that system. And we knew we were too busy to do it ourselves, and we tried other sources, and it seemed no matter where we tried, nobody quite understood. So we taught our kids. They took over, and they started a business called Internet, and they've been a bridge through the troubled water that people have in the business to help them get the resources that they need to go hand in hand with our business. So we've been proud to see that affiliation that we have. What a blessing for people in this business to have what we never had.
I met Dexter probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. When he came in, he had some problems going on. As you all know, he's had 2 or 3 strokes in his life, a major one. So he had no use of his right hand. Matter of fact, when he walked in with his hand tucked in his pants. Because when he walked, it would tend to swing freely and run into the furniture. His body fat was at 24%. Since that time, he's went from 24%, which makes a man obese. He's went through the too fat range. He went through the okay range, the good range, and as of last week, 2 weeks ago, he's at 10.5, who puts him into the elite class. At age 61, that puts him in the 1/2 of 1% of the men in the world. Everything's nice and even.
And so I got up to when I was 46 years of age, where I was 240 pounds, which is pretty heavy for a guy 5'6". And I had a 43-inch waist, and next thing you know, I had a stroke. After a month in the hospital and begging for them to put me in rehab, which they weren't ready to do, I got into rehab by pushing real hard, and I said, I'm going to get well. And the doctors told me, neurologists told me, that I'd be in a wheelchair the rest of my life, that I'd never walk again.
Think about those calves. That's it. That's what carries
my focus, David.
Your focus, buddy. Those calves carry you through life.
I remember coming home and talking to Birdie about it when they finally let me come home for a weekend, and I was so discouraged. I said, honey, you don't deserve this. This was my fault. I didn't eat right. I didn't take care of myself. And if you want a divorce, I'll give it to you, because you're a young girl and you don't need this. You don't need to push me around in a wheelchair the rest of my life. And she, at that point, the next morning, she didn't say nothing. The next morning, I got up, and here's a note scribbled on a card that said, the only thing that counts is we got each other. And I went to my knees to the Lord, and I said, Lord, between you and I need to get out of this wheelchair somehow, some way.
Well, I tell you what, this is a long way from where you came from. Big push. Let's go again, big push.
When I got to be about 55, I decided to take on my weight. And when I started doing that, I dropped 80 pounds by thinking right and taking it in hand and going for it.
Look at you now. I remember when you walked in here.
I do too.
You're not the same person. Well, Dex, this is going to be 1,000 pounds. 10 plates aside plus the machine comes roughly to 1,000 pounds. Okay? When you're ready, I'm ready. You push off first. Use your hands and push off. Hands on your thighs. 10. 1, That's it. I'm with you.
7,
That's it.
8,
2 more.
9,
1 more.
10.
Block it.
I did it. I did it. I feel great. This was impossible when I came. 10.
Block it. They said you couldn't walk?
Yep.
Well, you need to bring them to the gym and show them what it's like to train.
Everybody said it was impossible. But through my faith, I can accomplish anything. I just love people. I always have. But I think along the line of my life, my compassion has always been to help people that wanted to help themselves. So we're in the business of helping people develop a good self-image and good self-confidence. And I don't think there's much better that you can do in America than this.
So these principles of success can be applied to anything people do, whether it's being an IBO or whatever people do. These principles are timeless. They go for anything.
I had a dentist call me recently, and he said, Dexter, I got to stay on your mailing list. I got to stay on everything. He said, I've dropped out of the business, but it's changed my life so much. He says, and I'm building my dental industry very big, bigger than I could ever have dreamt. But I need your influence, you know, and people need the influence of driven people. The secret of living is giving. It's dreaming. It's loving other people. And love is the glue that holds it all together. When we started the charity dinner, that was to feed poor people around the world. That was the first cause. Each charity dinner, the co-chairman was always the president's wife. It was Mrs. Reagan. It was Mrs. Bush. It was Mrs. Carter. So it's gone across all the lines and all the parties. Birdie and I were sitting in the house with friends of ours from Africa that had started over 2,000 churches in Africa, and they were telling us about all these kids that were out on the streets, and they were in crime and everything, and they were bringing some of them in their home. And I'm saying, how many kids you got in their home? And I think they said they had like 14 in the home at the time. And I said, you need an orphanage. Well, we don't have the money. I said, well, what's it cost them? And we wrote a check so they could build the first dorm. And the government told them they had to have kitchens and stuff, and they wanted to close the dorms on them. So we said, okay, we're going to have reading material for the kids. We'll have a library, we'll have videos, we'll have books for them to read, we'll have a nice kitchen, and we sent more money, and it was done. And that's something that's close to us, and we bought a car for the orphanage and sent it over there, and we bought a helicopter, a Hughes Bell helicopter to go back and the way back where people couldn't be reached.
It's a wonderful thing to be able to do those kind of things now, because we know we've been in some of those situations ourselves. We gave Dex's parents a brand new Cadillac for Christmas. They were like, no way, this can't be for us. That was something that Dex had always wanted to do, was give his dad a new Cadillac, and that was just right.
Birdie and I have always cared about people, and we got to teach people they can be anything they want to be, and that successful people do believe in them, and tell people success depends upon you and what you do. It's in your hands. Dynamite.
This is you. You can become bigger than me. But I'll guarantee you'll have your tongue hanging out when you go by.
When we were in Rome, I could never believe this. This is gorgeous.
You see all these beautiful homes here, and back in Rome when we didn't know people like this, we never thought that we'd even know people that own places like this.
We have a choice of where we want to live and how often we want to. 2 weeks ago, we were up to our mountain house in Tennessee, and one of our mountain houses, we have 3 getaways in the mountains of Tennessee, and I'm looking at building a 4th one, maybe a 5th one up there. Our homes here, which are log cabins, as same as our mountain homes are, and these are a little bit oversized log cabins, and we're here on about 25 acres of land. We've spent most of the year down in Florida. We have a 12,600 square foot home with 2 guest homes on a property sitting on 14 acres of land on the water with a storage building for my automobiles, and we keep about 15 vehicles down there. I love convertibles, and I love to be able to jump in one of the convertibles when the sun's shining and keep my tan up. And Birdie loves convertibles, right, honey?
Love them.
One of our secrets of the business I can share with you is I had to develop the skill of meeting new people and making them friends. And I can have them wherever I'm at. Wherever. How's everything right now with you?
Doing great, doing great. Little boy's getting big. We got your booth set up right over here. Follow me. Here you guys go. That way you can sit with yourselves and enjoy, folks. We'll see you.
People told me I'd never be accepted by anybody had any class. We've known personally 6 presidents of the United States.
And may I start by thanking Dexter and Birdie for inviting me back into public.
And I want to thank Dexter and Birdie Yager for arranging this event.
All kinds of entertainers. All kinds of famous, successful people from all walks of life, because we started our own business and we didn't let anybody steal our dream.
Everything I've always dreamed of, this business has made possible for me. Everything. We've gone to some real exotic places in the world, and every year we go to Peter Island, which is absolutely, you can't really get more gorgeous than that. We've been able to travel around the world and help other people in other countries build this business and change their lives, and that is one of the most rewarding things I think I've had.
The success story really is Birdie's and my marriage and our closeness. When so many people got married in our age and since didn't make it, everybody told us our kids would turn out to be terrible building this kind of a business, and our kids are successful and close. And to look at our grandkids, the 3rd generation, because there's an old saying, from rags to riches to rags in 3 generations. And we have the opportunity to look at the training of that 3rd generation and be proud of it. To be proud of it. I'm staying around, you know. So we haven't started the job yet. People have asked us since we were 30 when we're going to retire. And we just say, we're not going to retire, we're going to refire. We love living life in the fast lane. We love living in the young lane. We love growing up with our kids. It's not about just making money. If that was it, we would have retired a long time ago. But it's about increasing your dreams. I was reading just the other day Conrad Hilton's story of how he built the hotels, and it was another hotel and another hotel. And when he finally got the biggest hotel in New York City, some of his people said, well, you're going to retire now, right? Retire? No, that was my biggest dream. I've got to set new dreams and new goals. See, so many people think you've arrived when we know that every goal we set is another step. Once we get that, we got to have another step and another step. Otherwise, we'll never know what our potential is.
Once in a lifetime, a hero spreads his wings to touch the sky and dares to live a dream.
One of the most important things in everybody's life is to have a dream. Have a dream. You gotta have a dream.
Stretching far beyond what human eyes can see.
There will always be critics and criticism in that dream, no matter where you're at in it. But to get the dream, you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. Has it been worth all the struggles?
Absolutely.
For all the rewards?
Absolutely.
It's not over.
All strength to